guys, welcome back to my channel. The last time I made a video, I said I was, the last time I was here, I said I was going to be a lot more regular in my posting, and that didn't happen, and I'm here to tell you why. So if you are new here, welcome, come on in, join the family that was growing and has since stopped growing because I'm just so inconsistent in my life. I am Praline, this is my channel. I share all things about my life. I do have a blog where I also share things about my life. So if you're digging this whole vibe, please make sure you subscribe to this channel, you give it a thumbs up before you leave, do all the things, comment down below. Let's just spread the love. Let's just spread all the love and more. Okay, so let's jump into what this video is about. I'm sure by the title you already know. Today I'm going to be doing a mukbang slash story time about where I've been and how I got my appendix removed, or how I thought, or how I came to know that I needed my appendix removed, and other things. So anyway, let's jump into the video. Okay, so if you see a little bit of leg, that is because I have pajamas on the bottom and glam on the top, because that's just life right now, isn't it? And also for the mukbang, I have sushi, I have some salmon California rolls, and these are crab crab maki, and there is some wasabi and ginger. I also have my soy sauce and some cranberry juice, because this is good for you. Before we get started, let me give my sushi a taste, because I'm so hungry and I've waited very long for this to arrive. Back in January, I first started getting my side pain, and it was here in like the lower right quadrant of my abdomen. I started feeling sick around that time as well, and I thought it might have been COVID. We know now that it was COVID. I've also uploaded my COVID story. It's on my channel. I'll link it below if you want to check that one out. But we went to Flora Clinic. I got a COVID test, and then I also told the doctor that I had these side pains. He did all the tests he could possibly think of for me, and everything came back normal. So he discharged me, and then the next day I found out I had COVID, and then that was it. I had COVID, I isolated, I recovered from COVID. For the entire month of February, I was fine. Or let's say, yeah, the 8th or the 9th of March. So around the 8th or the 9th of March, I started getting the side pain again. It actually first started when I was in dance class, and then we were practicing our routines, and we were doing the samba, and the samba requires like me to step back and use my abdomen and my hips and like push it back. So I was doing that step, and then when I came in the class it started paining, but when I came home it like intensified a little bit more, and I thought, okay, I must have just pulled a muscle or a tendon, or I must have overextended and hurt something in my abdomen. So I just ignored it, and I was like, okay, I did go to the doctor about this in January. Everything is clear, so the pain is back, so it can't be anything serious. It probably just is a muscle or a tendon or some sort of spasm. So I left it, and I told myself I'm just going to give like myself 28 to 48 hours and see if it goes away or if it intensifies, and then I'll decide what to do next. So that was a Tuesday. The Wednesday the pain was still there, and this time it came and it stayed. It didn't go away. It also intensified. It became a lot worse. So even when I had to like cough or sneeze, it started to pain. I couldn't walk very fast. I started walking like this, because every time like I extended and I walked up straight, it would pain. So I left it for Wednesday night, and I thought, okay, let me take some painkillers. If by Thursday or by tomorrow morning it's not okay, I will go and see my GP. Thursday morning I woke up, it was quite bad. The pain was quite intense. It was something that I couldn't ignore anymore. So I decided to go and see my GP. Go to my GP. He says to me, obviously asks me all the questions, does all the like manual exams with his hands, and he says because when he pushes down and he lifts up, the pain bounces, and it does still continue. I would possibly need to go and see a specialist. So he said to me that he's going to refer me to a surgeon who will book me in to the hospital, do all the tests for me in the hospital. I was a little bit shook because at this point in time I was under the impression that everything was fine with me. This crab mackie is quite good. Quite good. Later on that day, I come home, I pack a hospital bag, I get all my stuff that I'll possibly need for the hospital if I need to stay over. At this point, the pain is quite intense. It is getting worse. It's making me miserable to the point where I want to cry, because when it comes to pain and health and body issues, like I'm not good at it. It's not my vibe, right? I cannot handle pain. I am the biggest baby in the world, and I just feel like I'm dying. So at this point, my life was really dark and very bad, because this pain was literally draining every inch out of me. So I came home, I packed my hospital bag, I got my mind prepped. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to the hospital. I'm just gonna let the doctors check on me. I'm sure everything's fine. He's probably just gonna give me some antibiotics or pain meds, send me home. I'll be okay. I mean, obviously, if your GP is sending you to check yourself into a hospital, it's obviously serious. I don't know why I thought that it wasn't serious. Anyway, I go, I check myself into the hospital, and when you go and get admitted into a hospital, obviously because it is COVID, family, friends, anybody is not allowed. I got checked in, I went for my COVID test. This time, this was my second COVID test that I did. The first one was through my nose, and that was the worst. I mean, I spoke about it in my COVID story. I had post-traumatic stress disorder from that test. It was quite bad for me. So luckily this time it was through the mouth, like the throat area. They did tell me that I needed to be held in a waiting ward, which is where all the patients stay that are waiting to get their COVID test results back. Let's just have more sushi, guys. My favorite kind of sushi is the California rolled. The salmon with the avocado and the soy sauce, dream combination. I'm not very experimental when it comes to sushi. I love sushi, but I don't like venture out too far from what I got today. So anyway, I get checked in, I move into a waiting room ward. There was 2 other ladies in this ward with me, and they were elderly ladies. And then for the rest of the day, I just went and got all my tests done. So I think the doctor ordered, if I can remember correctly, he ordered a sauna for me, and he did bloods for me. And then at about 8 p.m. that night, the doctor came back and told me that my bloods came back clear. There was no sign of infection, so he wasn't sure if it really was my appendix, but he did say that the sauna revealed some sort of swelling in my abdomen and that he needed to check that out. The only way he would be able to investigate and see what the actual problem was to go in surgically. So he told me that I'm going to need surgery and that my surgery would be tomorrow. It's going to be a laparoscopic surgery. I'm going to remove your appendix anyway because you don't really need that organ. You can live without it. And just to prevent any further issues, because this is the second time that you're having this pain, I'm just going to go in and check. It's like standard procedure, nothing too big. You'll be fine in no time. I am the queen of stressing myself the hell out to the point where I could possibly like even give myself a heart attack. So I woke up and I had my breakfast and I had a shower because I was like, after surgery I'm definitely not going to be able to shower. I cannot speak, man. I cannot speak. Why can I not speak? Yes, so after surgery I wouldn't be able to shower, and I generally like to shower twice a day. Shit ready, and then when I came out of the shower, thank goodness the nurses came to me and said your COVID test results have come back negative, so we're going to be moving you to a negative COVID ward. I was like, there is a God and he is looking out for me, because that was the most terrifying part of this whole thing, recovering in a COVID positive ward, and also just knowing that I tested positive for COVID again. I mean, pack my stuff, moved to my negative ward. The doctor did say that when I wake up in the morning I must stop eating at 10, so I made sure that I had like a big breakfast. I was like, okay, by 2 p.m. or so I should be going in for my surgery. Yeah, no. Got to the ward, I couldn't have lunch, I couldn't even drink water. The doctor had given me this colon cleaner thing to clean out my colon. 4 o'clock came, nothing. 5 o'clock came, nothing. 6 o'clock came, nothing. And I'm like, okay, am I actually going to be going in for my surgery today? So I call the nurse in and I'm like, okay, so my doctor said I'm going to be having surgery today. It's now like 7 p.m. So she's like, you will still be having your surgery today. This is normal protocol. The doctor sometimes even does surgeries at midnight. And I'm like, I've been up since 5 a.m. this morning and I hardly managed to sleep during the day because I was just like I was anxious. 25 to 9, guys. 25 to 9. It's like nighttime now. They come in and the nurse says, okay, you're going into surgery. I'm like, oh my god, it's happening. Freaking, I immediately start crying. That's just like surgery protocol with me. The minute I go into surgery, I'm crying. Like literally from my room all the way like down the passage to the theater, I am crying. With this surgery, they moved me into the theater, which is a flippin' scary ass place to be. It's like freezing in the theater room and all you literally have is like a hospital gown on. The steel bed in the middle of the theater room with like all these lights, like very bright lights above you, and I was like, God, I am going, this is my last days. Like, it doesn't get better. Huh. I think by the time I got into the theater room I was like, ooh. They tell me, please can you just climb onto the operating table, which is literally just like a skinny cold steel table, and lay there. And then they obviously like put out the thing for your hand, so he like lifts it up, he says put your hand on there, so I do that. And then he says to me, sweet dreams, whatever, injects me with something, and I actually feel it going in my veins. It was actually quite sore. And then the lady puts the oxygen mask and she says to me, just take a few deep breaths, out like a kite. After that, they obviously did the damn thing. I'm missing everywhere. Everywhere, boo. When I woke up, the pain that I felt in my stomach was unreal. It was 500 times worse than the pain that I had before when I went in for surgery. It literally felt like there was like a million knives just like stabbing and scraping the walls of my abdomen. Like from the top here all the way down, it literally just felt like knives like stabbing me. And I'm not even joking. I'm not even kidding with you. And it was excruciating to the point where I was like holding my hospital bed like this, like grabbing it as tight as I could. So then I asked the nurse, I gave it some time. So I was like, okay, maybe Praline, just calm the hell down. Maybe you just being like a huge baby with this whole thing. Just let the pain medication work. You will be fine. It will go away. When I got back to the ward, they gave me a sleeping tablet because I said that I just wanted to be knocked out and I just wanted to sleep. So I took the sleeping tablet. I think it might have been at like 11:45 or 12 o'clock at that point. I think I slept, I kid you, for like probably 30 minutes, an hour. By 1 o'clock in the morning, I was awake again and the pain was still so intense. So I called the nurse and I'm like, listen, this pain is not going away. It's so sore. I cannot like deal with it anymore. And she says to me, she's like, I cannot give you any more pain medication because if I do, it is going to affect your diaphragm and it's going to hinder your breathing and you could go into ICU. So I cannot physically give you any more pain medication. I'm like, what is this? Like when I had my knee surgery, they gave me morphine on like a switch thing. Like every time I just needed more pain med, I could just press that thing and it would give me more pain meds to relieve my pain. But this time I couldn't. I had no idea why. So she couldn't do it. She said the only time I can give you more painkillers is in the morning at like about 5 a.m. and it's via the drip. No, it's via an injection. The injection's a very strong dose of pain relief meds and a suppository. So together those two will help you. But between the medication administrating times, they have to give it between like a 6 to 8 hour period. In the morning, the nurses did come. They gave me an injection. They gave me the suppository and they took my bloods to obviously see if there was any infections post the surgery. The doctor came in around 8 o'clock and said that the surgery went well and that I would have to stay in the hospital today, which was Saturday, and I'll be discharged tomorrow, which was Sunday. I asked him what was wrong and he said, well, I did remove your appendix. It was slightly inflamed. And he said also there was a part of like my bowel, I think it was like my small intestine, that had twisted. So it literally, like if you think of a tube or like a tube that twists, it twisted and there was a part that got twisted. Because there was no blood flow going to that part of the small intestine, it started to die, like the tissue started to die and get infected. So he had picked that up in the laparoscopic surgery, that it was just like dying tissue, and that's probably what was giving me my pain, because my appendix wasn't too inflamed. So it actually ended up not being like a huge appendix story. It was actually my bowel that had twisted and become infected and needed to be removed. So he removed that. He took out my appendix just in case. Waking up on Sunday morning, I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm feeling a lot better today. Like I could walk, even though it was the most weirdest pain to walk. It just felt like my entire abdomen was like heavy. None of that happened, thank God. Let's just have another sush. Also, guys, who was watching Love Island? Did anybody watch Love Island? South Africa. Oh gosh. Now I was a huge fan. I love Mishka and Xavier. I think they are the cutest, sweetest little couple ever. Mishka is just like a little ball of dynamite. That's all. Little ball of dynamite. And Xavier is just, oh my god. I mean, he's just spicy. When you go home and you recover from your house, I feel like it gets worse. But also, I think it's because the anesthetic wears out. The first 2 weeks post-surgery was... I couldn't sleep on my side, and obviously I couldn't sleep on my stomach. So I could only sleep on my back. So I was like sleeping like this, and I would have like a pillow here by my head, and I would sleep like this, like on my back the entire night. My stomach was like legit like this big, like it was out. I looked like I was probably like 6 months pregnant. They cut you here on your belly button on the top, they cut you on the side here, and they cut you really low down here. By the 3rd week, I got a rash from the dressing, so I realized that I couldn't keep on putting on this dressings because it was irritating my skin. So I did remove it, but what I did is when I removed it, just to protect the wounds from like external bacteria and that sort of thing, I did put Vaseline. It protects it and it creates like a surface covering over the wound so nothing can enter the wound and infect it, and also you don't touch it. Next week I'm going into week 6, so I'm well on my way to recovery. Recovery has been so painful though. Like, and the funniest thing is that I told everyone post my surgery, I was like, everybody told me, or before I went in for the surgery, all I heard was, oh, don't worry, getting your appendix is standard procedure. Quick surgery, you'll be fine in no time. Nobody ever emphasized the pain associated with the surgery. When I had my surgery and I came out, everybody was like, well, everybody that had removed the appendix or had some sort of abdominal surgery said, yeah, but having your appendix out is a painful surgery, and flippin' hell it is. I think they didn't tell me, obviously, because you're not going to tell somebody that's going to go in for the appendix. So if you're watching this and you're probably preparing to go in for your appendix surgery, I'm so sorry. Don't worry, everything will be fine. It's just expect a little bit more pain than you think. Next week Sunday's video is going to be very exciting. So make sure you're subscribed so that you get notified when I upload next week's Sunday's video. It's going to be a good one. So come back then. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day or evening wherever you are. Be safe. COVID is still a thing, so wear your masks. Take care of one another. Be kind to one another. In the words of Ellen. And until next time, I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week Sunday. Bye!
Starting from the beginning, at the beginning of the year, how do you do mukbangs and talk politely? Like, I just feel like everything's like stuck in my head. Anyway. Yeah, it went quite far. Also, do you love my pug? But also, let me put you straight. Does it look straight? Sort of. We're back. Can I just get comfortable? Oh my god, you can see my legs.